Hello everyone, and welcome to my Dungeoneering guide. This will be my Dungeoneering boss guide for the Furnished floors. Every floor that you attempt will have a boss at the end of it. Your team will have to kill this boss in order to use the exit and get the Dungeoneering experience. There are a whole range of different bosses, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Bosses will be more difficult if your team is more experienced in terms of combat stats. Feel free to skip to one of these bosses if you need one in particular. If the boss you want wasn't on that list, click one of these annotations. Har'lakk the Rift Splitter is one of the early Furnished floor bosses. To kill him, just use either protection from magic or melee, depending on which stat you have the lowest defense in. Har'lakk can use 3 portal attacks. The first of these is the Flame Portal, which he'll call down and it will do damage to you over time. You can also call down the Miasma Portal, which will gradually increase your poison damage. And the last is Downsize, which slowly lowers your stats. You can avoid all of these just by simply moving out of the way, but that's pretty much all there is to killing Har'lakk. Once he's dead, you can finish the dungeon. Relevent is another of the early Furnished floor bosses. To kill him, you should use melee, but you can use magic if you want to as well. If you turn protection from melee prayer on, he will charge at you quite often. To avoid this charge, run to one of the walls and then move in another direction so that Relevent will smash against the wall. If he does this, he'll stun himself. Other than that, he has a few other attacks that can stun. So just be a little bit wary of him for this reason. But once he dies, you can finish the dungeon. Stomp is probably the most annoying Dungeoneering boss you could ever get. He's also one of the earliest Furnished floor bosses. To kill him, you just have to attack him. He can't move, so don't worry about running anywhere. Once you damage him enough, you'll call down rocks from the roof, and as well as some crystals. And you'll have to pick up these crystals and then activate the lodestones next to Stomp in order to damage him. If you don't pick up the crystals and use the lodestones, Stomp will heal himself back up to, for instance, if you're using the blue lodestones, he'll heal himself back up to full. Whereas the next one is the green lodestones, which will heal him back up to 2/3 health. So he'll never go back above 2/3 if you've activated one of the lodestones. Stomp is really annoying because sometimes these rocks that he calls down from the roof can either block you from getting to one of the crystals, or they can block the lodestones when you're trying to activate them. Stomp is supremely annoying for this reason, and he's definitely my least favourite boss out of all of them. In terms of his attacks, he can use magic, melee and range, so just protect against whichever one you want. Once he gets down to the red lodestones, he can use a slow moving range projectile which can be evaded, so you should evade this if you get this. This will always hit, I think it's 25% of your maximum health, so you should definitely avoid this if possible, as you can see here. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to killing Stomp. He is weak to Crush if you want to use Crush, if he's particularly difficult, but shouldn't really need to change away from your regular style. It should be noted that you can be damaged by the falling rocks from the ceiling, so you shouldn't stand on any of the shadows that appear when they are about to fall. As I said, the first of these lodestones is the blue lodestone, then there's green, and then the final one is red. Once you've activated both red lodestones, Stomp will be killed, and then you can finish the dungeon. Lexicus Runewrite is primarily a mage user, so you should use protection from magic when fighting him. If you use melee against him, he will always reflect some damage back on you. I'm pretty sure it's 1/3, much like Vengeance does. So you should use range if you're in a large team. Occasionally he can use an attack which will summon some books to help him. These can use all attack styles depending on which book they are. For instance, the Tome of Range will use range. He can also use Book Barrage, which will call in some exploding books that you can evade, and you should do so as soon as possible. Once Lexicus dies, you can finish the dungeon. Sagittaire is another of the Furnished bosses. He's a range user, but his arrows have either magic or range attack. When killing Sagittaire, you should use protection from magic. If you use protection from range, his arrows will be able to bind you to the spot temporarily, whereas if you use protection from magic, his arrows will have the ability to just slow you down. Sagittaire will teleport around the room once you damage him enough, and he'll call in his arrow rain attack, which will hit around him in I think it's 3x3 or 4x4 square around him. So run away from this as soon as he does that. You'll notice that Sagittaire has protection from range on at all times. This means that you cannot damage him with range attacks, although you can still use magic and melee, but given that he's a ranger, melee is your best bet, as he has high magic defense. In large teams, you can use the group gatestone and the gatestone teleports to your advantage. You can place the group teleport outside of the room, and if he teleports right next to the door, you can just teleport out of the room and then enter again, and be much easier to get to him that way. Alternatively, you can also use the gatestone and create those and place them around the room to make it much easier to get to Sagittaire, because his teleport ability does get quite annoying. Once Sagittaire dies, you can run to the exit and finish the dungeon. Nightgazer Har'lakk is the last of the Furnished floor bosses. To kill him, you'll first need to light the pillars in the corner of the room. If you're alone, you should just light one on your own, but if you're in a team, you should allocate one person to each pillar. If you don't do this, he'll be invulnerable, and the more pillars that are lit will mean he'll take more damage. Other than that, just kill him. He can use several attacks, magic attack, stun attack as well, and he can also use a special attack where he will get a blue light around him, and then he'll smash the ground, and if you don't move out of the way, he'll hit a lot of damage on you. Once you've hit some damage on him, he will take his second form. You won't need to light the pillars in his second form, but you'll have to kill him all over again. Once Nightgazer is killed, you can finish the dungeon.
Hanging round downtown by myself, and I had so much time to sit and think about myself, and then there she was.